Imagine, you're just getting your feet wet into the genre of black metal, and someone online recommends you a project called KFR, telling you it's one of the most disturbing and scariest projects they've ever come across. And when you search that up online, this is the first thing you see and hear from this project. Scrambling to gather your thoughts, you immediately check out another song to understand what KFR is all about, and this is the second thing you hear and see from KFR. Well, all of that was my introduction to the project called KFR, all done by the mastermind, that being Maxime Taccardi. Ever since then, I've just been in awe at just how much Maxime Taccardi can disturb me with his music, visuals, and art that has really made him quite the unique entity within the realms of black metal. When it comes to underground music, regardless of genre, a lot of people tend to have a lot of interest in artists that have a DIY aspect to them. Well, Maxime Taccardi always goes full-blown DIY with everything that he does. All of the album artwork for every project that he's done, it's all done by him. All the music videos that are shot, all done by him. All the music that's written, all thought out by him and performed by him. To even the production value in mixing and mastering, again, all done by Maxime Taccardi. Now, Max is in a handful of projects, but the one that gets the most amount of attention, that seems to be the fan favorite, again, is KFR. It has the largest body of work out of all the projects that he's active with, and I was introduced to it again with the debut full-length album, Anti. The approach that Max is going with this album that should really set the tone and tell you how everything else is going to be that I'll be talking about with all the projects that he's a part of, is that it's a mixture of raw black metal and dark ambience. Now keep this in mind, this isn't raw black metal in the sense of like super aggressive guitar riffs and thunderous blast beats that make it all evil and chaotic. This is more in vein of stuff like Mutilation, Abruptum, and Drowning the Light, where really all the instrumentation from the black metal and the dark ambience is to create ambience that will engulf you and really set the tone of this very miserable, nihilistic vibe. The overall pacing for KFR, for the most part, is very mid-pace. And because of that, I feel like it allows Max Taccardi to unleash his vocals, and goddamn, they are something to behold, because they can be both miserable and creepy, yet at the same time throat-wrenching how he does his screams. He would also follow that same approach up on the third full-length album, Necro, but just a bit more aggressive. That again, if you're looking for something in vein of like the Les Legions Noir or Abruptum, a mixture of those two styles, definitely check out these two particular albums by KFR. Also, a little side note if you haven't noticed, I enjoyed the debut full-length album by KFR so much, I even got the album artwork tattooed on my left arm. However, another interesting release in the KFR discography is the sophomore full-length album, Death March, that again plays around with raw black metal, kinda, because this would be the full-length album where Max Taccardi branches off into more of like power electronics and death industrial. The only comparison I can give this is that it sounds like that of MZ412, but just again a bit more livened up thanks to the black metal aspect that Maxime Taccardi kind of intertwines within the death industrial and power electronic approach. Even though this would be the only full-length album that Maxime Taccardi would do under the name of KFR with the approach of death industrial and power electronics, I feel like because of the interest he had with this style of music, with this particular album, it's a huge reason why he branched off with another project, again all done by him, called Grim, where again, it's this style of, you know, black metal kind of embedded within the realms of power electronics and death industrial is the main focus of this project. However, the ambition doesn't stop there with Maxime Taccardi within the realms of dark ambience and electronics. He also did a split shortly after the first 3 full-length albums with the dark ambient project from China called Enmity. For those who aren't aware, Enmity is basically the Chinese response to that of the Les Legions Noir. Like, think of all the dark ambient projects within that group kind of like laced together with that of like an Asian aesthetic is what Enmity is. And it did 1 full-length album and it's really good, but never did anything after that besides a split with KFR. How Max was able to get in contact with the individual from Enmity and make a split still blows my mind that it happened. But honestly, this is some of the best material by both projects, again, within the realms of like dark ambient music. It's nothing kind of like boring or like background music. It's really kind of like creepy, atmospheric, and interesting dark ambient music from both projects. But if you're looking for the straightforward approach with black metal when it comes to KFR, I would strongly recommend checking out the 4th full-length album, Zero. I would say in terms of songwriting and all the tools at Maxime Taccardi's disposal that he utilizes, this is the best black metal focused album he's ever done. While it does have elements of keyboards and has that dark ambience kind of smothered in throughout it, I would say the riffs for the most part very hateful and emotive sounding. There's a bit of some like hooks and melody going on here that really highlights the best portions of Maxime Taccardi's just really dark, dense, and disturbing tone that he's really made all of his own. From my understanding, this was supposed to be the swan songs for KFR, that it was supposed to be dropped entirely right after its release, but Max decided to continue on with this project, releasing a handful of other releases and full-length albums, that these albums, for the most part, as good as they are more focused on the black metal aspect. The riffs and aggression is really turned up more, while the dark ambience and the keyboards kind of bleed through here and there. Again, the aggression of the black metal essence just, again, is drawn out more. That if you're a fan of the Les Legions Noir, particularly Mutilation or Drowning the Light, which obviously Max takes a lot of influence from these particular projects, definitely check out KFR. If any of you end up really enjoying KFR for what it is, and want even more music like that, again, all done by Max Taccardi, the next project I would highly recommend is Saturnian Temple. To give a brief summary, this is Max's approach with the style of music that he plays around with, but he wants to branch off more into cosmic black metal territory. The first half of the discography, the first 2 full lengths being Opus 1 and 2, is really where things have a lot more reverb to it. Again, maybe think of something like Dark Space or even Paysage d'Hiver, but just way more miserable, and the emotive aspect of it, again, is just that misery, depressive, and nihilistic outlook that Max Taccardi has with his music. That's what this overall ends up sounding like. However, the standout I feel like within the discography is the 3rd full-length album, Chronos. One noticeable difference about this particular album, Chronos, from all of Max Taccardi's work is that this is one of the very rare times there would be another member included with a Maxime Taccardi project, where the other member does more additional work with guitars, synth, and drums. And really the only difference here with the album is the aggression's turned up more. Maybe the cosmic vibe is turned off a bit. It doesn't really remind me so much of Paysage d'Hiver or Dark Space, but the melodies, the hooks, the aggression is really livened up more. And I feel like it showcases that Max Taccardi can work with other musicians and still make a really successful album. And the last music project that I want to bring up that's quite the standout within the body of work of Maxime Taccardi is Lamentum, where now this is his dungeon synth project that, yes, at times will have guitars popping through here and there, and obviously Max will use his vocals throughout it. But what this showcases to me is that Max is really ambitious for really experimenting with any form of music that could be dark, creepy, atmospheric, or really relies a lot on ambience. It's something that really showcases a lot of his interest with anything he does musically. While I can sit here and talk about all the great musical work that he's done, really the standout thing that Max Taccardi is most known for is all of his visual artwork. Thanks to social media, he's been getting a lot more attention and traffic from it, and that he has artwork done with human blood. And human blood as in his own human blood. You can find his body of work all posted on his Instagram, where he usually does portraits. And one portrait that he did a handful of years ago, I had to get. That being this H.P. Lovecraft portrait. Again, all done in human blood. That being, again, obviously Max Taccardi's blood. I mean, the detail is just incredible, and the quality is definitely worth the price. And that's the thing when it comes to his type of artwork like this. You can actually message him, again, on his personal Instagram and put in like a personalized portrait that you want done. And obviously he'll ask for a deposit like any other artist when it comes to creating art. And once that deposit's through, he'll make it and ship it out to you. And yeah, when he did one of H.P. Lovecraft, I had to jump on it. Oh, and also a little side note before I forget. One thing that people kind of wonder about when it comes to the blood painting is that will the blood, ink ever kind of like fade away or something like that. Well, this portrait right here of H.P. Lovecraft was done in 2017, so it's been 5 years since this was created. And for the most part, the blood really hasn't faded away all that much. I mean, it's kind of turned into more of like a brownish red. It's not like that bright, vibrant red color that you'll see online. Mainly because it's like that type of like bright, vibrant red because of the lighting that he does when he takes his pictures. But yeah, after 5 years, I mean, the coloring of the blood still holds up. And that's the thing with Max. He does artwork. Not only just for like the buyers that want to collect his artwork for the personal aspect, but he does artwork obviously for a lot of bands. Maybe it's just because I've become so used to seeing it, but whenever I'm on YouTube and I look at my subscription feed of all the black metal YouTube pages that post black metal albums, every once so often I'll see an album artwork with blood on it, or like these jagged, schizophrenic looking lines and imagery, and I'll be like, yep, that's done by Max Taccardi. It's just become so noticeable now how distinct his overall output is on his artwork. And probably the most known album artwork that he's done is for the Finnish black metal band, which hopefully I say somewhat right, that being Sielu Vihollinen. God, hopefully I'm saying their band name somewhat right. It's killer Finnish black metal, and it's really cool that his album artwork is getting more noticed now. What I'm really happy to see for him is that a little over a decade ago, he used to have a full-time job being, believe it or not, an art teacher for a middle school. While he ended up quitting that job back in 2020, he's had nothing but positive relations with all of his students. However, the main reason for it is because he felt as if his art and his vision for what he could talk about was very limited to what the school board would allow. But his main reason for quitting is that he wanted to make his own personal art his full-time job, which thankfully it's been a success story for him, because just recently he had his own art exhibit in Albany, New York. And thanks to social media, as I stated earlier, he's just getting more traffic and more eyes and attention with his very twisted, sick, and signature artwork that he's made all of his own. And I think the best is still yet to come from him with his success story that he's done with it. Overall, I find Maxime Taccardi to be a very special entity with just art. Whether it be the musical projects that he's a part of, or his very striking and morbid and twisted visual artwork that is very signature. He's quite the standout for a human being, and really something to behold. I think he's truly a one-of-a-kind individual that definitely deserves all the attention that he can get. And that'll do it for this video. I'll have links provided to his Instagram account, all the music projects that he's a part of, and even his big cartel where he sells some prints. definitely check him out. And again, if you want your own personalized artwork, hit him up on his Instagram and he can work out all the details of how to pay him and the shipping and handling and all that good jazz. But yeah, that'll do it for this video, guys. Like always, make sure you guys drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and have a great day.